Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bright Gamele. Today, I'm going to be taking you through cybersecurity and give you some more context as to what is happening in the cybersecurity space and why cyber resilience is the new normal. So, I'll be taking you through a series of presentation and give you details as to what we're seeing in the space and how can we get to be resilient. We'll see a few live demonstration of a few methodologies that hackers are using this recently, and see how we can actually use some of the mitigation methods that we can employ to make sure that we are safe at all times. So, if you're looking at the challenging assumption about securing the digital infrastructure, which we are all in the space right now, is that cybersecurity is no longer just about defending your network perimeter. The cybersecurity needs to adjust the dynamics in the businesses that we have, and we can't accept being compromised all the time as a new normal. We need to make sure that we can actually secure and protect ourselves. So we need to have ways that we can be proactive and predictive rather than being reactive to cybersecurity matters at all times. Looking at some of the statistics that we have been getting around is that a breach will take about a median of about 86 days to actually get detected, and takes about 111 days for that intrusion to be contained. 27% of CEOs of organizations have encountered what we call a CEO fraud in the past 12 months, where they are actually getting compromised by phishing attacks, which I'll demonstrate today, being sent to them. They click on links, they give out details they're not supposed to give, and they get compromised quite easily. 75 of cybersecurity professionals says that they have been impacted by a global cybersecurity skills shortage. So it gets quite difficult for them to be able to actually contain some of these. We're looking at 75% that of attacks came through email attachments, malicious pop-ups that keep on coming and people clicking on them. We're looking at unpatched systems. And the thing is, nobody ever thinks they will be a victim of cyber attack until it happens to them. So we need to find ways of being able to say that these challenges, there are more challenges that we're seeing in the cyberspace. This is a report from Nipple Telegram and Telephone Entity, which is my parent company, from what is said is that the evolving threat landscape is people as weaponizing the kind of vulnerabilities we see a lot. There's a lot of cryptojacking where people take over your server and make sure that they can actually force you they use your computing as power to be able to get cryptocurrencies. Credential thefts are still on the rise, and trying to fight back cybercrime is getting to a point that even board levels are being involved when it comes to cyber risk, cybersecurity matters. So it's not just now a conversation that stops at the senior management level, but it gets to the boardroom. You see, people are being cybersecurity engineers are being involved in board decisions, or they're being admitted to the board of many organizations. People are moving to predictive threat intelligence, which we're going to look at in depth. And organizations securing investments are becoming more informed, targeted when it comes to, and we're trying to be strategic. So there's a lot of conversations that are going there which we need to look at. When looking at the maturity levels of many organizations, most of them will be at, say, a point of being initial or in a repeatable state. What I mean by that is that when in the initial stage, it means that the processes they have are ad hoc. When they get a cyber attack, they're trying to just see how they can fix issues here and there. When it comes to reporting, there's no formal way of being able to do any kind of reporting. When it comes to tools, they're planning on the kind of tools they want to use. But the thing is, we need to start moving to a repeatable or defined or even a managed state. That is what we need to be in the next few years, because with cybersecurity, cyber resilience being a new normal right now, our mindset has to completely change from the day to day. So that when a defined stage, you have formally documented processes that you have to undertake, you have documented the matrices that you have to use, there's reporting, and then you can at least be able to have some sort of functionalities implemented to the various policies. So some sort of research that was done when it comes to cyber preparedness. A definition of cyber preparedness is a practice of ensuring an organization has developed, tested, and validated their capability to protect against, prevent, mitigate, and respond and recover, which is really important, to significant cyber incidents, such as one that results in physical consequences to critical infrastructure. A lot of people in the various realms of work saying that majority of them are either in the repeatable state or in the initial state. As you can see, initial and repeatable or defined state, that's the difference between the two. So all of these, everything that we have in our organizations, we're looking at security by design. Where you're looking at the intelligent infrastructure, your workplace, your business, that covers everything. You're looking at the security capabilities you want to put in is how do you have it from infrastructure protection, your network security, application security, data security, governance, risk and compliance, your endpoints, your identity management, your threat management, and threat protection. All of these can actually be encompassed and guarded by what you call threat intelligence, which is going to be the main topic of conversation today. So some of the gaps we have identified in most organizations is that they don't have some sort of vulnerability and patch management. They lack endpoint security, endpoint detection and response, which is different from antiviruses. We're going to see the difference between those two. And then they're understanding the right frameworks to implement. Some people want to get ISO compliant, very small organization, and they're not even sure what ISO compliance they need. Insufficient skill set. A lot of organizations, not everybody has the right skill set in the organization to be able to fight cybersecurity. We're looking at inadequate threat intelligence, where people are not monitoring what is happening. As you all sit here and watching right now, you're watching me talk. Who is watching your systems? How do you know somebody has gone in and has clicked on something? How do you know somebody is stealing from you or even trying to tamper with data that you don't even have any kind of visibility on? Do you have any kind of privileged access management saying that can somebody go to make a change without you knowing, or before they make that change, you will be able to get a notification saying this person tried to do 1, 2, 3, 4 activities, and you have been able to notice. Securing mobile applications, securing application development processes are not followed. People rush to create applications in a very hasty manner, in that it gets to the point that they cannot be able to tell if the application is secure or not. So the rush might be due to competition. By the end of the day, you realize that the application has not been developed properly. They did not follow the right processes. And their third-party engagement integrations. You're always going to integrate into a lot of third parties. We're looking at fintechs trying to connect to other payment gateways and the like. But if you don't do some sort of proper integration, you get to actually leave the entire system open. People are saving money with you, or people are processing money through you, or any kind of other main business that you are in the technology space, you are going to encounter third-party engagement. And general staff cyber resilience awareness. As you see, it only takes one person to click on a file or on a link or open a file and get compromised. We're going to look at that today. I'll show you. So what is the areas of top watch what we have to think about when looking at resilience? We have to start thinking about threat detection, being able to see that any threat that is coming to our network and systems, we can actually see it and be able to attend to it in time. So the time is what sets the difference between you being compromised or not. Security device management, enterprise security monitoring, and vulnerability monitoring management. A lot of people like to do security assessment once a year because it's mandatory by a regulator for them to do. However, if you start looking at vulnerability management, you will be able to actually tackle issues that are coming to you every now and then and look at them one at a time for a period of time for you to be able to make sure that you are eliminating issues or vulnerabilities in your systems every month, for you to get to a point that by the time you're doing a general security assessment from a third party, you have eliminated almost everything that you can think about and reduce your risk attack surface. So some of the areas of organizational focus people are looking at is insider threats. I put that in red because that is the biggest challenge almost every organization is facing. Too many people who are on the inside, they know the system, they know the processes, they know the technology, they know what is lacking, and they know what exactly has been implemented, that they will actually use that to be able to manipulate things or systems that you would never know. We're looking at external threats, obviously, because hackers from outside take advantage of whatever they can use or get the weakest link to be able to enter the entire network. We're looking at business email compromise, which has been on the rampant. Everybody is getting an email to click, which looks very real. And I'm going to just use that today to be able to show you exactly how possible it is that you can actually be compromised. Looking at anti-malware and endpoint detection solutions, secure VPN and control. Yes, we're working from home right now. A lot of us are working from home. Yet you're using VPN to log into your corporate network. If you don't secure your laptop or your computer, or if you don't have the right processes to make sure that you are being secured, somebody compromising your laptop and getting access to your VPN has basically gotten inside your organizational network very nice and easy. And so the controls that need to be thought about properly. So active monitoring and incident response, monitoring everything, making sure that you're actually seeing them and you actually respond on time. Incremental security, back in cloud backups, and actualizing timely mitigation controls. If you've been hacked right now, what are the processes that you have laid down that you can actually follow? What is the maturity level that has to be thought about there? Then we're looking at business continuity and strategy alignment. A lot of people did not even know that they needed business continuity to be put in place until COVID-19 happened, and they said, okay, we need to actually activate such a thing and make sure that it is aligned with our business strategy. We used to look at cybersecurity as three elements: being able to protect yourself, detect, and respond to attacks. However, cyber resilience, on the other hand, makes sure that we are able to identify some of these security holes or security processes or loopholes before we can actually get to even know how to recover. The recovery time, if you know how to identify issues that will happen to you. For example, if you build a house right now and you know that if I put the right security measures, I will be able to stop thieves from being able to jump over the fence or the likes. So you put barbed wires, you put electric fence and the likes, and put an extra guard. If you do that, you will be able to recover quickly, saying, and also put an alarm that in case anything happens, I know there's a possible security weakness here or there, and I'll be able to recover quickly by being able to press the alarm, be able to get the guards to come quickly, or even test it out to be able to show that you are resilient. So that is the difference between the two. Cybersecurity is about protect, detect, and respond. Cyber resilience, it actually contains also the other two, which is being able to identify and recover. So I'm just going to take you through a series of possible hacking methodologies that hackers are using right now. I will start with the basics of all, which is, let me just use this. So the first thing any hacker would do, or to try to be able to compromise you, is to actually say that they want to know exactly what do you have, what is this organization about. So I'll use any company, for example. If I was to say I'm looking at, say, Central Bank of Kenya, and you try to search about them, you find out the website is there, you're trying to find out details about the company or the organization. I'm not targeting Central Bank, I'm just trying to use a simple search methodology. If I was to find out details about Central Bank, you just want to say that either you find out, Google is very interesting, be able to allow you to find files as easy as possible. If you type site KE and say file type doc and you say salary, this basically says that you want to search every .ke, let me see, it's a full colon. No, not doc. Salaries will be Excel sheet. So if you look at Turkana County budget, basically you want to say, I want to search every .ke website. I want to find out every single document that actually exists on all Kenyan websites that has the word salary in it and it's an Excel sheet. If we open that file, you will see that it's an old file that is on the server showing the budget details of organizations. Again, I'm doing nothing illegal. It's just Google searches and be able to find the right details out there. So things like, say, if I change this to be, others you can do is say in text, I want to find out anything at centralbank.go.ke, any extension of a file called PDF on their website. So gathering information is, say, you want to find all PDF documents that exist, just for you to understand. It can be any organization. These are all free code that anyone can use. Or you can say that you want to know where somebody works. So I can say linkedin.com and in the URL, I want to find out who says they currently work at, say, I don't know, Standard Media, Kenya, and they said they currently work there. I'm only searching LinkedIn to find out who says they currently work there. So you find people's names and positions and what they are. A hacker wants to find out such information, be able to use that against you at any point in time, because such information is really important. And what you need to know is that people have ways of being able to get the right information they want. Again, Google can actually even show you cameras that are publicly available for you to log in. If I log into these cameras right now, let's say possibly it might actually be working. You can actually log into cameras in a specific geographical area to see if anybody is actually, if the camera is vulnerable to being able to be seen. So this is using basically Google. As you can see, this person does not even know we are watching him. He's doing his laundry and we are watching him live. That is how exposed the internet is. We're looking at IoT devices, the Internet of Things, but people don't know how vulnerable they are to such attacks. This is somebody's house. If you look very closely, you see things that are moving. I don't know if you can see the leaves in the right bottom corner. As you can see, the leaves are moving. This is somebody's backyard that you can actually log into. People are moving up here. I don't know which country this is, but that should be, I think, Germany, or I don't know. And other search engines, such as what we call Shodan, allows you to be able to see cameras all over the world. This is people's backyards and front doors in Joburg, Cape Town, of which that days when you log into these cameras, you can see anything people are doing, all their pool parties and the likes. So the internet is quite wide, and it just needs the right person to have the right skill set to be able to actually get it. However, I will basically focus on a lot of other better tools to be able to use. If I pick, say, my conference that I run a lot called Africa Hack On, and I say the Harvester, it's a very simple tool that says that I want to fetch details about africahackon.com, the first 200 results of Google. This tool goes to basically fetch all the email addresses they can find around on Google and present that to you. Now, there's a very simple thing that has been happening, and a lot of people get to be attacked when it comes to phishing attacks. That people don't set what you call SPF and DMARC records properly, so you can actually impersonate them or be able to do anything with their email. So this email address is my email address. I can impersonate that, but I want to impersonate a Gmail account to show you how this works. So if I pick, I wish anybody would share with me their Gmail account right now. Even the organizers, if you wish, you could. Otherwise, I'll just use my own. So I wrote a small script that will be able to impersonate any other person's email. So I use brightzed@gmail.com. And I want to send that email to, say, bright.gamely@africahacon.com. And what I want to do is, an email subject is testing, no, let's say approval of document. Kindly find attached the document to be approved. I could have attached the document. That would take a longer time, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to send without an attachment. So this is just a basic email that I've sent to bright.gamely@africahacon.com, and I'm impersonating who? Brightzed. So let's open my email and see if that email has come. And there it is. It came in at 3:47, which is right now. And if I open that, we'll see that it is sent via SendGrid. It even has my picture, which makes it look very, very real to anybody. And if I was to reply to this email saying thank you and looking forward to your response, that email ideally would actually get back to brightzed@gmail.com. Let me open that email that we can see. But it shows you how basically how easy it is that people can actually send an email on your behalf if you don't have the right email security. But as that is working, I just want to show you what are the few ways hackers are using to be able to compromise you without you actually knowing. So there has been an increase in phishing attacks, which we have been seeing around. I'm just going to demonstrate a very simple version of it. So these are simple open source applications that exist out there, which allows you to be able to mimic anybody's Google Drive accounts. I'll say presentation pictures, and people like to click on things that are very enticing. If I take this link here, I could have sent it through that email. Let me see, where is that? As you can see, the email reply came through on Monday, December 7th. So that's the thing. Anyone can actually fake an email. But if I was to put this here and say that I send that link to you, for example, hackers will send that to you as a hyperlink so that you don't even know exactly what you're clicking on. And if you don't have the right security tools there, to give you a Google Drive saying request for access, the first thing we do very quickly is to be able to we say allow for access, and we give if I was to put a real Google Drive link, this will actually take you to a Google Drive folder for you to see details there. However, in the background, the hacker has details about your laptop, your browser, your IP address, your location, your proximity details, of which you can actually get more information about him or her from there. If I pick such a thing, say I pick latitude, and I want to go to find out details about where the person lives. If there's anything I can pick up from social media, I will say I want to put the latitude, and if I pick the longitude, I want to see within a kilometer radius, I want 20 results of anybody who has ever tweeted around that area. You can actually find out details about a person's Twitter account, which it has a lot of information. So I'll show you a simple version of what you can get from a simple Twitter account. I did an analysis of my own, so I'm just going to show you my results of how far you can get with a simple Twitter account. So with that, you can profile a person to know what kind of followers he has, what kind of things he talks about. You can tell that I'm a very technical person. You can see that these are the times that I'm very active online in the evenings. You can see the kind of phone that I use. If you're going to create a malware for me, you will use the right kind of malware to be sent to me. You can see who I talk about a lot or retweet about a lot, and you can actually fake accounts that are looking like those. So many fake accounts that keep on coming up, and this is because of a simple way of being able to profile somebody because of Twitter. However, this is just one way of phishing. The other way of phishing is to be able to say that you can try to mimic a page which looks just like what people use every day. So I'm going to mimic, say, I want to use a social media account. Let me use Microsoft and say I want to mimic a Microsoft login page, which a lot of people will fall for in an organization. Remember, you only want to target one person and be able to use that person as a way to enter the organization. So again, we generate a link like this that can be faked to anybody, and if I put that into the browser, it gives you a page looking like a Microsoft login page for you. If I've gathered enough information about you, knowing that you're going to use Microsoft for logging in, or you use Office 365, you'll be able to actually put anything. So say bright.gamily@12345.com. Password is welcome to the presentation. And if I don't want to save that, and I go back here, password has been collected, username has been collected, password has been collected, same as the IP address. So there are many ways for you to be able to get compromised And we need to be very careful about how we actually get access to people. Now, a hacker having all of this information, he wants to now be able to compromise you by trying to send you a malicious file. So, how does that happen? The hacker sets up what they call a command and control, and this command and control is basically waiting to actually get a feedback from the attacker who has been sent a file. So I'm going to use the most common thing, and the easiest people to actually target are people in finance, because they have a lot of details, a lot of documents that they process, and they're mostly the people who approve a lot of payments. So I'll use an Excel sheet to be able to actually mimic somebody to be actually compromised. For demonstration purposes, I have a virtual machine on the right. And this virtual machine basically will be the target, which we assume that we send us a beta document to fill it. Now, most hackers will send you a document that has been zipped with a password, enabling you to actually download it to your computer before you run. So if I click on this Excel sheet, most documents like this will have a macro embedded. I know some of you want to file your tax returns and to have a macro enabled. And mostly what you're going to do is say enable content or enable macro. So let's see what happens in a few seconds when somebody opens such a thing and it says enable content. If I was to be very malicious, I'll put a lot of numbers and characters in the background, which will not make sense. And by the time I reply to the person saying, did you send me a document? It doesn't seem to work. Hacker already has access to your computer. So if I want to access that computer right now, I can. And I can say, let's try to create folders on the desktop. Let's say hacked now. And if you look up here, we've created a folder called Hack Now. If I want to pick up anything the person is typing in the background, I still can. And I'll say, welcome to the webinar right now. And I can dump everything that person has been typing. Welcome to the webinar right now. If I was very malicious and I want to actually be very destructive, or you can search for files, you can activate the camera, the mic in the background, you can do anything to the person's computer. You can even freeze the keyboard or freeze the mouse, or even shut them down as easy as possible. So with that, the person doesn't have connection anymore to the computer just because you have been able to shut them down that easily. Or why? Because they've opened an Excel sheet. So those are just some of the basic ways of being able to be compromised in an everyday life that we live. So where we're supposed to be getting to, I know I have to wrap up very soon, is to be able to get to know that we need to get to a level of maturity where when an attack happens to you, you have what we call a security incident and event management, a SIEM, that is actually seeing all of these activities that are coming to your network, your systems, your applications. But that will be around, say, level 3 or level 4, that you can see to them and respond to them with the team that you have. You have to get to level 5 where you're actually trying to be able to automatically respond to these attacks by taking actions. For example, I'll explain in a bit detail right now. So we're moving from a traditional risk management to predictive threat intelligence to make sure that we can actually stop attacks that are happening in a matter of the shortest possible time that we have. Because an incident happened to you, when you're reactive, the cost will go higher because you spend a lot of time trying to recover. That is why you need to be predictive, that you cannot see these attempts that are happening to you, be able to contextualize all that processes and have a way to be able to recover very quickly. That's the only way of resilience that we have right now. Why do we do threat intelligence? Because we want to understand the tactics, the techniques, and procedures hackers that are used for threat actors, and be able to help us to prioritize security operation, formalize the triage, and automate the response that we have with a quicker turnaround time with what we call playbooks. Your playbooks are supposed to help you to be able to attend to security matters in a very short time. There are so many kind of indicators of compromise that come to our network and systems, such as somebody brute forcing your accounts, a malware coming to the network, somebody scanning the network when you're not supposed to, you find a lot of banking industry that people come to work on Sunday at night in the name of trying to fix something, yet they're coming to actually do malicious intent. When that is being seen, you don't want to come in the next morning before you start investigating. You want a system that can automatically be able to take care of all of those for you. So the SIEM you have in every organization, most organizations have a SIEM. It can collect all the logs, do intelligence kind of analysis to know the various indicators of compromise, but you need something that can take automatic action. This is what a SIEM will look like on a traditional day, that it has seen failure to log into database 17,000 times in the past 4 days, but that is because of somebody trying to brute force that database to make some changes to money or the likes. But you need to see how a SOAR comes in, which is the next revolution of things. As what a SIEM will take 30 minutes to do, where you have to investigate each and every one of activities and take action by calling somebody in the networks or system administrators, a SOAR will do that in 4 seconds. So the SOAR will be able to collect information, make a smart decision, does the triage and do a response and prioritize business intelligence according to what you have. If I may just show you how a SOAR looks like before we end, I will just show you a sample short video of exactly what SOAR looks like. So playbooks are getting to be written, and those playbooks ultimately get to show you exactly how you can respond to attacks that happen very frequently. So this is a situation whereby somebody's in an organization. There's a user called Washira who has tried to log into his account. He's a normal user, logs into the Active Directory, and we can even see his IP address that he's trying to use to log in. So Washira's login, you can see his IP address has started with 197. That 197 he has logged in at, and then in H28, somehow his account has been compromised, and that person is trying to log into his account with a VPN or trying to basically be able to take over his account. Now, this happens in so many organizations that somebody has been impersonated or somebody has been compromised and they're using his account to do malicious activities, but the person has no idea. When a hacker or a malicious user uses your account, they are logging in with a VPN or another kind of tool, and as you can see, the IP address is 63. When that happens, your SIEM would have actually be able to pick that up for some time, but you need a SOAR which will be able to investigate this quickly and lock out that account before you can investigate later. Most people will actually wait for a very long time. It will take a very long time for them to be able to detect this, because you have thousands of alerts that are coming to you every day, and you can't even tell exactly where to start looking from, but you need to be able to say what can automatically lock out that account without your human intervention. So as you can see, when later Washira wants to go back and log into his account, he gets to be locked out of the account, and when he tries to log in again, his account has been disabled. So he tries to log in, and his account has been disabled. So that's basically how a SOAR works in terms of being able to make smart decisions for you. We have EDRs and antiviruses. I will not go into too much into this, but I'll share the slides, because we need to start moving from traditional antiviruses, which can be bypassed, to what we call EDRs, which is endpoint detection and response. I will not be able to go through all of these safety measures that I wanted to take you through because due to time, but I'll leave these slides with the organizers to be able to share with anybody who wish to actually go through it, and that we can actually keep safe. Just to end this entire presentation, we need to make sure that we assume that we have already been compromised, that we change our mindset to be able to make sure that we raise the attacker cost and have a rapid response when it comes to security. Move a lot of things to the cloud, because it's easy to manage, and also have some sort of cyber hygiene to be able to make sure that you're always checking what you have at all times. We need to design systems to be not to fail at all. We need to design systems to recover quickly. We need to design systems and our network and the processes to prevent every possible attack. We need to assume we have been compromised. So with that, I'll say thank you very much, and I'll give it back to the studio for question and answers. This is just how my office looks like on an everyday sometimes. So thank you very much. So over back to you to the studio for question and answers. Thank you.
Whoa. I'm even afraid to log into my account, Yvonne. That was so fascinating.
It was. Particularly when, when we're saying many transactions are happening online, and so many financial institutions want to make sure that those transactions are secure and that their customers' funds remain secure in that. And like he did say, Bright said something very interesting, people who work in financial institutions are more prone to attack because they have a lot of data, for all of these transactions. So important for us to note. And like you said, fascinating and scary at the same time. We've got some questions, haven't we?
Yeah, it's really generated a lot of questions. And I can begin with Gabriel from Ethiopia. He's asking, what should be the top 3 cybersecurity priorities of CEOs in the short term? What should be the top 3 cybersecurity priorities of CEOs in the short term? Over to you, Dr. Bright.
Yeah, so top 3, I would say people need to be sure that they can actually do what we call a gap analysis. A lot of organizations or CEOs don't even know what gaps they actually have, so they rush to buy anything and everything. As you're sitting there right now, the chair that you're sitting on, if you had a table in front of you, will not be able to fit into any other place. It will only just be able to fit to that particular place that is meant for. So people need to do what we call a gap analysis and risk profiling, be able to understand, okay, these are the frameworks that I have to use, the processes that I have to follow, and have a budget for it. Most people don't know exactly what to do. But another thing also is, okay, that's bundle as one. The other part is being able to have visibility at all times. A lot of organizations don't have visibility of their network or systems or applications. So when they get compromised, they later start now thinking, what happened? Where did it go wrong? And then it takes a longer time for you to be able to recover or even move on to your normal business processes every day because you don't have visibility. And the last but not the least on those, I'm bundling them. The last is to actually have a team. Most organizations don't have the capacity or the cybersecurity skill set. And last, when it comes to that, I said, if you can't, you can hire one person to take care of the usual everyday security processes, but outsource the other extra bit if you don't have the entire capacity.
Okay. There's another question here. They didn't leave a name, but they say, how can regulators facilitate a safer financial ecosystem in collaboration with the private sector, right?
That's a really good question. So the regulators have actually been taking a lot of work in and being able to come up with a cyber crime and the computer and cybercrime act and the bills. A lot of people in the government or the regulators are actually having processes, but they need to work hand in hand with the private sector to also get to the point and be able to bring them to that decision making. I feel like a lot of times the regulators come up with something that they've borrowed from another country or another kind of organization, but they don't actually consult the public or private sector to be able to know what are they seeing, what do they feel before they actually come to that. So a good collaboration will be able to streamline a lot of work.
Kenyatta University of Technology, and she's asking, from a talent perspective, are there enough cybersecurity professionals in Kenya? If there is a gap, what can be done to close it?
So there is a lot of cybersecurity talent in Kenya. I've been running something called Africa Hackathon for the past 7 years, and what have come out of that is people who even did architecture are now cybersecurity engineers. I've seen about 80 students who are now fully in cybersecurity, and the changing is we basically wanted to change the mindset of people to get into cybersecurity. So there are quite a number of skill sets, but most of them don't get the how do you call it, the chance to be able to even practice in the real world. Now we're lucky to have a lot of virtual platforms that allow people to be able to practice the cybersecurity skills without necessarily being in an office and the likes. So there is enough cybersecurity talent. The way people hire cybersecurity talent is not the problem. I see unrealistic job descriptions which doesn't fit the profile. Like you're looking for a whole department in one person, and that's just it doesn't make sense. So hiring organizations or HR managers need to make sure that when they're hiring, they hire the right skills by being able to ask for the right requirements and be able to get the right people on board. Otherwise, you'll be setting unrealistic goals for people to be able to join, which actually cuts them off or make sure that people cannot actually even apply for their job positions. But we do have quite a lot of talent in Kenya. My youngest mentee is 14 years old, and all the things that I've done today, right now, the live hacking, he can do them flawlessly. He's 14. He's in high school. And the thing is, and there are quite a number of them that I mentor. 14-year-olds. And he started doing that when he was, 12? Or he was 11? And I took a chance on him without even too much struggle. This kid creates viruses very easily. He bypasses systems very easily. Recently, there was a challenge where there was over 700 people worldwide. The Kenyan community of hackers were number 14 worldwide out of the 700. So we have quite a number of talents right now in Kenya. We just don't know how to get them. We need to make sure we give them the avenue to be able to even apply for these jobs and not put very stringent rules. Application processes for them to be able to show their talents.
Let's get our last question this afternoon from Marianne from Kenya. Asking how should companies exercise oversight on their staff in relation to the heightened cyber risks due to working from home?
So there are many ways to be able to do that. There are what you call, when I talk about the EDR solution, it has a part of it which is being able to manage systems, but the policies that has to be created by the organization that they're not infringing to the privacy of the staff. That the fact that I put a solution or a software in the computer to be able to watch your activities and prevent attacks from happening to you. You can also put, according to the policies when created properly, there's so many solutions that can make sure that you don't overstep and try to watch things you're not supposed to watch. So it's all about being able to monitor, but doing monitoring with the right tools, with the right processes, and with the right policies applied to them. Some people not being able to apply the right policies will be overstepping the mandate, and that makes it very, very difficult for people to actually work from home.
That's right, because it really is important. I think beyond even just the oversight that is provided by organizations that have their staff working from home, I think it's also about the staff themselves and knowing what to look out for, because many of them are actually working on work-related platforms, software that would then obviously be open to some mischievous activity, right?
That's true.
Yeah, okay, all right, great,
so
thank
most
you.
people don't know how to separate the two of them, which is very difficult. But if you have the policies in place, you can actually say you are only allowed to run 1, 2, 3, 4 solutions on your computer, on your work computer. And if you're sending an email, the identity management tools can say you can't even send out an email with the keyword of the company in the document. So it's all about getting the right solutions for the organization.
Just a quick one now, right before you go. So I'm inclined to wonder then, has the working from home policy that everyone is embracing right now also exacerbated the situation of the threat and the attacks?
Could you ask again, please?
I'm inclined to wonder, has the working from home policy for many organizations right now, people working from home, is this in any way also potentially a threat to the organization, because now they don't really have a secure...
It has raised the threat by almost 60-70% right now, because now everybody is taking advantage of saying, I'm not going to come attack the entire company where they have a lot of security in the infrastructure. We'll attack just one person. Remember, you only want to hack one person and be able to use that to pivot, what we call pivoting or bilateral movement into the organization. So we saw a lot of at the time when Zoom became the whole thing of the right choice of tool to use for communication. There were too many Zoom fake links that were being sent to people. There were too many forms of pages sent to people to click on, and they were submitting information. Every time I've done any sort of phishing attack on a company to test the resilience of organizations during COVID-19, you'll find out that almost the people who actually keep and submit information is usually the C-level. It's funny, the C-level form the highest percentage of people who actually give out the details and don't look very keenly. So it's very difficult for a human being to see fake links. It's very difficult. Trust me, if I want to do it to you, you will hardly be able to tell the difference between a fake link and a real link, or a fake document and the likes. That is why we need to invest in the right solutions to make the decisions for us. We can't do that as human beings alone. That's why automation is the way to go. Automate, automate, automate. Let machines be able to do the smart decisions for you and take the right actions.
Absolutely. I think that's a good place to leave it. Thank you very much, Dr. Bright Gameli Mawudor, on just that reality check and making sure that we are resilient to all the threats that will come with the cyberspace, considering, like you said, Dibal, many of us are working from home, remote systems, and of course the movement of fintech and financial inclusion. That is one of the pillars of financial inclusion, is that you're able to do things comfortably, at your home, rather than traveling to the banking hall, as it were. And just the whole idea of fintech and technology being able to democratize access to capital, and that means you can do it anywhere. And so cybersecurity is indeed a very important pillar. And so we thank him for that and those messages and that reality check that we continue to have. So it looks like we've come to the end of day one.
Yes, very informative sessions we've had today, and of course salient points that have been raised, just beginning also with the governor today, who spoke quite movingly, especially on sustainability, or sustenance, or should I say sustainability financing. Yeah, it's really a crackjoke for me, but I think for me it's just been a learning lesson in terms of what they've really showcased, cashless payment, and now we're winding up with cybersecurity as well. I don't know what really was your highlight for the day.
Yeah, I think it's the continued focus on SMEs, small businesses, how to make them resilient, how to make sure they have the right capital, and what are some of the things we need to do now as we have learning points from the COVID-19 pandemic to continue to make sure that they are running their businesses in a formal manner, and moving them from the informal to the formal sector. And those are some of the things that will make them resilient to shocks. There's many learning lessons for that very important sector of the SMEs, which are run by people and which provide the greatest employment for people. Again, and it's just putting people at the center of everything that we do with building back better as we go forward.
Of course, yet of course we were picking our thoughts on economic recovery. This is day one. Tomorrow also we'll be looking at fintech, people and ecosystem summit. Of course, that will be the summit of fintech, people and ecosystem. And I can't also wait to hear what our panelists will be having for us up their collective sleeves. Yvonne?
Yeah, and fintechs, as we've said, have been the biggest disruptors. They were disruptors even before COVID, but then became at the center of re-engineering what we're calling the new normal, even as we look forward. So it'll be very important and interesting to see. And remember, we continue to showcase all of those who have done really well during the virtual hackathon that took place. And to remind you that there is the Hackcelerator that is happening December the 10th. And the finalists will all be going in there, including the winner of the overall win of the hackathon. That's SME Credit Pro from Cameroon, will now be participating in that global fintech Hackcelerator at the Singapore Fintech Festival. That is December the 10th. So we're looking forward to that, and also just seeing about how we're going to manage the relationships between fintechs, the regulators, and the incumbents. So that is the fascinating conversation we have tomorrow as part of the Global Singapore Fintech Festival 2020. The theme for Nairobi Online City event remains people and talent, harnessing collaboration in pursuit of resilience and growth post-COVID-19. We thank you so much for being with us today, and from wherever you are watching, goodbye, good afternoon, good evening. We thank you so much for being here with us. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yes, wherever they're watching from, so you don't know what time to pick.
Right, yes. Right. Join us here. We'll be here at 12 o'clock East African time. I'm Yvonne Okwara.
I'm Dibala now.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.